Everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome to yet another exciting session on our HELIG reading class. Our library display, and it's being facilitated by LIASA of Olivia and Sivue Bagani. Just a few okay. For us to successfully carry this out, we have at the top of your menu bar, you will see alongside meeting, there is your a main icon. If you want to raise your hand or agree or disagree or step away, or you want the speaker to speak louder, softer, stuff like that. So you'll find them on the top bar menu, on the black, you see it up there. And then, yeah, over to our wonderful facilitators, Elsabi and Sivue. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, guys, from LCB. I think we should immediately start because I know we are all pressured for time. Could we maybe have a look at the first question? Would you like to have a look at the questions, I wonder? Is that on the next screen? Should we maybe show them? What do you think of the overall style of the article? Was it easy to read, too dense? I would love to hear comments from you, colleagues. I found it was fairly easy and not too long. We all have such a very busy time at the beginning of the year, so I was also happy that it's not a too long article. And I believe that those of you who are listening today are definitely interested in the topic of displays, of library displays. So I found this easy to read. What about you guys, Sivue?
I also found the same, the article actually deals with a very common issue in libraries, very common practice, but it's something that we don't normally think about. It's something that we just take for granted. So I think it cuts across, all sectors, in fact, of librarianship. Yeah, it would be interesting to hear what the others are thinking.
Is there anyone who would like to raise a hand and maybe also have a go and tell us what they thought? Or you can even make use of the chat if you are more, if you would like to use the chat option and maybe jot down your thoughts there. Ingrid?
Okay. I'm actually quite fascinated that the article is about displays in academic libraries. Public libraries, you see displays all the time. You walk in and there are displays, but in the chanting outside that you may be able to hear over the mic here is the students, the student orientation leaders getting their tossies to sing. So sorry if it actually comes through. For academic libraries, I mean, we tend not to really do displays. So I thought this was a very useful article. Some really interesting pointers on display planning. In our own layout here, we don't really have display space, or if we have display space, it's in cabinets, which is also kind of defeats the purpose. So I was absolutely fascinated by the fact that it was a academic library that was doing displays. Yeah.
Yes, Ingrid, I must agree with you. We do displays at the University of Pretoria, and I'm also responsible for that, and that is why this article was so relevant to me. But what I found so interesting were, of course, the statistics that they showed here, on especially those ones on page 2 that showed the growth in the student engagement with the displays. I found that really fascinating, and I see, Teresa, you've also you have your hand up.
Oh yes, thank you, Elsavi. I would like to concur with all the points that have been raised before, and I really liked this article. It's nice to read. It's short enough to get one engaged, and in terms of our displays here, I'm also responsible for our displays like on all the campuses, and what I normally do is to prepare a calendar like according to the month, and ours is just a mix. I was even surprised to know that you can classify your displays into academic, topical, and novelty, because ours is just a mix depending on the time of the year. And yeah, it has been very useful, giving me some ideas as well. And I'm also happy to report to us, to this forum here, that we beef up our displays by not just making them flat and books randomly like that. We do, according to the theme, maybe around heritage, we have our book displays and put some artifacts, that go along with that particular display. And in that way, we see that our students get more engaged and identify or, get more interested in the displays, and even, increase the circulation of the stuff around display. It's just that we haven't started formalizing, taking note of the statistics of the circulation of such displays, but yeah, there has been some improvement. Yeah.
Thank you, Teresa. Could I maybe ask a question? Seeing that we do exhibitions, but just like Ingrid said, some of our books are in a display cabinet. I would love to hear from you guys. So how do you display your books? Do you have, do you also have display cabinets that close, or are they on a type of exhibition that's open? And when you do those displays, do you encourage people to take out the books? Ingrid, I know we are not using all your questions now. I'm not sure whether you want us to continue with the questions, but I'd love to hear from the other guys. How do you display your books? Avive, you are very...
in our case, we have display racks. We used to have a closed off, cabinet, but now we have display racks. But we use them mainly for new books. Only once or twice did we display fiction books. In terms of encouraging people to take those books, really, it's something that I got to see on this article. That was something that I thought I'll take with me on this article, and so that we can use, as an idea. Because really, as I was saying, we never think about, these displays. We just display and you leave it there, You are not even following up as to whether, books, how many books get taken, etc., etc. So that's one point I got from this article.
And thank you for that. Yes, I think they opened the door for us with the research that they did on this topic. I found it very interesting that they tracked to see whether the books are taken out. Ingrid, you would like to say something?
Yes. No, I thought that was very interesting as well, and the fact that if the book hadn't kind of moved within a couple of days, that they took the book off. we've got, I mean, Savive's worked here himself, and Teresa's been a student here at UCT. I mean, we just haven't, we really don't do displays. There is a cabinet in the front, glass cabinet. For example, we've been displaying DVDs. But you know what? The DVD again, and that's another topic for another day. We need to find an article about DVDs in academic libraries. But it's all under lock and key, and then the student has to come and ask for it at the loans desk, and then it's such PT for these poor students to actually take anything out then from on display. The few times that we have put things out at just on the circulation desk, so right at the beginning of the year when there's to start your academic writing or something like that, those books have gone out, but then it's not the best display space because it actually is the working part of the desk, and then the books get swept up and get reshelved before you even blink. So it's limited. It is, yeah, Bronwyn, you're right. It's limited physical displays, and we probably should look at it differently. This article is certainly making me think a bit differently.
Yes, I agree with you, and I know we are not looking at all the questions now, but should we maybe do number 2? What's the point of the article as a whole, or we all agree it's about discussing the use of displays in academic libraries? Like Ingrid said, I think we all found it very surprising because we don't really spend as much time thinking about these displays and making the effort to also track the use, whether those books are taken out. I think that was a very interesting aspect that they raised. Was there anything that you guys disagreed with in this article, Saviwe?
Let me start with the first question. Basically, it's about how you can increase the visibility as well as the impact of books through displays. That's how I've put it. It actually led me to another article that is actually referenced there of Camacho, where he's making an analogy where he says that if something is not displayed in a shop, you hardly ask anybody for it to say, do you have this and that? Because you don't see it displayed, you just take it that no, it's not there. So it was really interesting to me because, as a consumer, that's how I behave. If I don't see something on the shelf, it means it's not there. I don't normally ask, anybody. I think it actually made the point very well through using statistics. I think the statistics that they use, they show clearly as to how the books were used and how they were not being used, before the display was being made. So it was quite an interesting point that they made.
Do you have teams working on displays? That's something that I would like to know from you. Or do you have a specific person at your institution who takes responsibility for the displays? Because what I also liked about this article was the fact that they were working so well together. I think here at UP, displays are seen as a huge effort and a lot of work, and it takes a lot of cajoling to get people to be involved. Teresa, I see your hand is up.
Well, thanks, Alphabi. Can you hear me better now, Saviwe? So that you complained of the...
A little bit better, but we still have to concentrate when you talk, Teresa.
Oh, sorry. I think my technology is not up to scratch here. Thanks for that. I wanted to comment on whether we have display committees or how we do them in our various institutions. Unfortunately, in our private institutions of higher education, we don't have that luxury of having specific teams doing, like you become a jack of all trades, you do them all. So our campus librarians are actually responsible for displays and anything else, other things that, make the library and information services tick. But what we do from the national level is to draw that annual display calendar that campuses can, follow or even adapt as they wish, depending on what's critical from their side. But we try to make sure that what happens on one campus happens on the other, to maintain that standardization and students' experience, students and lecturers, that whatever that they experience on one campus should be the same on the other. So, yeah.
Thank you. Anything else from anyone else? Okay, should we maybe continue? Were there anything that you were feeling that you disagreed with the author on something? There's something that I wondered about. I don't know whether I should mention it. In the article, they talked about QR codes that are really outdated. And I wondered, we are using QR codes in our library, and I think people here are actually only starting to use them really extensively. So I wondered about that fact. Do you agree that it's outdated? Is there anything else that you picked up on that you think that you disagree with in the article?
Yeah.
Ingrid, you want to talk?
No, Saviva, you go ahead. I've put some stuff in the comments, and I must just say that Bronwyn is right. The value of a physical display, as opposed to the plasma screens and Facebook and stuff. We have a lot of our displays on the plasma screen. Not the physical pick up the book sort of thing. So
on question number 3, I also have got, because I did print them out, I've got brand new information to me on the same number 3. So I think it was a question about anything that we disagree with, and then to give examples as well as what was brand new information to us. I think that's how it was, but I don't see it on the questions that Ingrid you put up on the screen. For me, what I found to be new was really the across campus collaborations as well as the use of teams, to do these displays. It would be interesting if one can try it in the South African context and see how it's gonna work. I also liked the DDC bookmark. When I was just reading the article, I just saw a bookmark, with all the DDC numbers. I will certainly look into developing one.
Yes, I must admit I also really like that bookmark idea, and I thought that bookmarks were outdated, but it seems that they are still very much in use. Every time that we prepare bookmarks, I can see they fly. Apparently, people still like to use bookmarks. But I also want to hear from you that in our libraries we have found a decline in the loans of hard copies of our books. Do you guys see that at all? Because that's why I found this article so interesting, that they say that displays can really make a difference. So are your numbers down at all? Are you also going for e-books? Are your readers still reading hard copies of your books?
From our side at the northwest.
Okay, I'm just going to wave.
Oh, sorry, Ingrid. You can continue. Sorry.
Okay. I mean, look. I think the general trend across academic libraries is that the circulation stats are falling. But I'm certainly thinking within my own discipline, which is humanities, it is very much still print based. So. Yeah, and obviously we are trying to just generally. I mean, Elsabe and I have just come from a web council meeting this weekend. The push is to encourage people to read. That's the big push. So we actually do have to promote the print material. We are still buying print. E is, I'm sorry, this is probably going to sound like sacrilege, but I think E is pretty overrated. I mean, it's damned expensive. There goes your budget when you could buy 3 books, and you could buy 3 books in print and just one is an e-book, and then it's the same. The way that the license works means that if somebody else is reading the e-book, nobody else can read it, which is the equivalent of having that the print copy that was on your shelf is out to somebody else. So I don't know. I think certainly within the humanities discipline, people are still taking out books, but the trend is that circulation stats have dropped. But perhaps using some of these ideas, these academics, promoting these academic skills, the research methods, using some of the academic and the topical topics, that you draw attention to that material that the students don't know that you have. I was surprised, or maybe not, at the fact that the novelty display generate very little student engagement. But it does seem to me that is, as I've commented, that is probably more things that one sees in a public library, maybe, or a school library. But maybe I'm just being it's an easy. If you're doing a display, hey, Christmas and Halloween and whatever, holiday reads or something is quite an easy. You would think is quite an easy put together for a display, that you can easily put something together. But then if it isn't being used, I don't know. I don't know.
Thank
That's
you,
me.
Ingrid, for that. Yeah. Saviwe, would you like to add anything?
No, I think we can just continue to question number 4, which is the subject of this article relevant to your daily work in any way? If so, how? Let me not comment. Let me just open it to the floor.
Any hands? Anyone who would like to say anything? Teresa? Teresa?
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes?
Hello? Okay.
You are very far off, but we can hear you.
My speaker volume is still on high. It's still on high. Yeah, I would say the subject of this article is relevant to our daily work, as we have said earlier, that it's actually making us aware of some of the things that we're not aware of the potential of the displays. So from now on, we're going to look at our displays with a different eye. And it's also giving us some tips on how to approach the topic of displays and how they actually influence our readers, you know, come into our libraries and make use of our library resources. So I would say this article is very relevant to our daily work. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Yes, well, I also agreed. I think everyone confirmed that we are surprised by the article, the things that they do, and I think the statistics that have shown the growth of circulation of the books. Should we maybe continue to the next question? Can you see potential for further study on this topic? Do we have some academic librarians who love to publish? Vive, would you like to take that one? Teresa, Ingrid, I see. Should we start with whose hand was first? Sorry, I don't know. Teresa? Okay, Ingrid. Okay, Ingrid, let's hear what you have to say. Ingrid?
Forgotten what I wanted to. I've forgotten what I wanted to. What I wanted to say. It'll come back to me. So I'll just hand back to Teresa, and then I'll regroup my thoughts.
Your thoughts. Okay, Teresa, would you like to mention something, whether you can see any potential for further study?
Yes, maybe Teresa, I don't think you want to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I take over?
Yes, that's fine.
Yes. I think there are some studies like where you can just find out as to what the users think, you know, about displays. The other study that can be conducted could look at the same thing, but in a different context, so that you can compare the results to what these other people found overseas. So I think, you know, those two issues can always be tackled, you know, on this topic.
Thank you. And Ingrid, I see you have remembered what you wanted to say. You mentioned behavioral maps. Anything you would like to add?
Yeah. This ties to user experience. I mean, one of the things that they have said here was that the display tables were initially placed in the entrance area and have now gradually moved further back into the student workspaces. And they used the display these behavioral maps, which is an element of user experience for those of us who attended Andy Priestner's user experience sessions at conference, or have been reading up on user experience. Behavioral maps of tracking where people move in your library is actually gives an indication of maybe in this case where the ideal places are for putting displays, where the traffic goes, and I was quite fascinated to see that they had actually used those behavioral maps to establish the most, what did they say, the most strategic positioning of displays to attract the attention of library users and to best enhance study space. Our physical arrangements here at UCT are that you come into the foyer, you again don't realize that there are books in the library. I mean, the books are on the floor above. You know, the first question that we've just done parents orientation is, well, where are the books? Because they're not seeing that. And I think maybe a use of a behavioral map of tracking where people move to might give it an indication of where a good idea for displays are. That's from me.
Thank you, Ingrid. Yes, I also thought, you know, what they mentioned doing head counts and observations, and just doing research in my own library to see whether the books in my exhibition gets loaned, you know, whether they get loaned. I would like to track that more because I've never done that before. So in that sense, the article has really made me think about something to definitely do differently next time. Should we move on to the next question?
Yes, I think so.
Did you find anything surprising about the facts or the opinions presented in the article?
In my case, I didn't find, you know, anything surprising, but I must say I was pleasantly surprised by the subject matter itself. But with the opinions and facts, you know, it was not surprising at all for me. I didn't find anything surprising at all.
Anyone else who would like to add something? I can just mention, Ingrid, I think you have touched on this, that I was surprised that the topical displays generated so little student interest, because I always thought that those were the things that the students enjoyed more. So I found it surprising that the academic books were actually, that those were the more interesting exhibitions, and it really made me think. I thought that we are focusing on academics the whole time, and students will prefer having topical exhibitions. So in my library, our focus has always been on more topical displays. So in that sense, I found this very interesting. And I'm back to the QR codes again, because they mentioned that the QR codes were slightly dated, so I wondered about that too.
Well, yeah. The interesting thing too is that the one library is offering interactive elements, so encouraging the students to use post-its and whiteboards and to respond to the displays, and then obviously piggybacking that onto Twitter and to the blog and to that sort of thing to create a sort of holistic display, using all the elements. I mean, currently what we've got on our plasma screen we are highlighting South African films that we have both in special collections and in the main library, which are available for loan mostly for the students. But instead of then, I mean, we would normally have those in these glass cabinets, which the students would have to go and ask for. And this way, the screen is, using the plasma screen is useful, but I don't know. I like the idea of a display and going to pick things up and to look at it and to handle the book and to discover what interesting things that the library has that I didn't know that the library had.
You know, the last comment about the plasma screen is really interesting. We also have the same. So now I'm taking you back to potential for further study on this topic. That could be another study to just look specifically on, you know, on displays on plasma screens, because I'm sure other institutions also have the same.
Thank you for that.
You want to say something else, Amit?
Yes, I just wanted to know. So, on your plasma screens, do you also promote then your books? Am I understanding correctly now?
Yes, sometimes we do. In our case, we do promote books. We just, you know, play a presentation about certain books, and we just give, you know, just small facts about the book itself. So we do it.
Okay, because at UP we use the plasma screens more for notifications and about events. We promote the events in the library, and only this year we've decided to add the special collections books, you know, to maybe highlight what special collections has to offer to students. But that's another topic. Maybe we should not go there now. Would you like to move on? Okay, thank you, Bronwyn. I see Bronwyn also mentioned that they promote new books on plasma screens. Where are we now?
We are on number 7.
Yeah. Has reading this article helped us to think differently about this topic?
Yes.
Ingrid?
Yes. Definitely. I wish there were more people sitting listening and participating in this, because I think this is just absolutely, I mean, it's food for thought, and it's a different, something that we might not even be thinking about, physical displays. I
agree. Savire, you wanted to think?
No, I just wanted to agree that it has. Otherwise, we would have thought about the importance of physical displays in terms of, increasing the visibility and the impact of the library itself. Because we shouldn't only think about this impact as only the impact on books being taken out. Once there is that impact, then it's also the impact of the library in the long run. So we should, look at physical displays now with a different eye. It was an eye-opener for me, I must say.
I agree with you, and like Ingrid said, it's sorry that we don't have more people attending, actually, so that they can help us think, because I've already sort of jotted down my planning for the rest of this year and my planned exhibitions, and this makes me think twice about what I was planning to do this year. I should maybe rethink, especially the exhibitions. Ingrid, you are laughing.
Yes, no, but isn't this what it's all about? Is that exposure to these new ideas and going like, all right, maybe I need to have a rethink about this. Definitely go back and relook. We still have our marketing planning meeting, I think, tomorrow, and this topic will come up. I mean, as part of the when looking for ideas and identifying the possible displays. As I say, I mean, the Oscars are being announced on the 4th of March. We've got a vast DVD collection, so perhaps we need to have a look at putting up, you're identifying some of those Oscar award-winning pictures and say to the students, hey, we got these, but that'll probably go onto the plasma screen as opposed to popping them into a display cabinet. I mean, I think putting things into a display cabinet, those books and DVDs that you actually want to circulate, doesn't do anything for the circulation of those books. It's just a barrier. But again, from a security point of view, we don't have the wherewithal to display DVDs out there in the open. I suspect some things will maybe walk. So the plasma for DVD screens, for the DVD covers, and that is probably good. I'm not sure whether we are doing a romantic display of some sorts for Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Could I mention something about that? Because that brings me to another topic about physical book displays in academic libraries. I don't know about your books, but our books don't look that well. They are used. whenever you want to put up displays, it's not like we're like a bookshop where we have multiple copies of a book, which they also touched about in this article. So the one copy of a particular book that's very relevant maybe for this exhibition is one of your very popular books in the library, and it's almost falling apart. So that's a problem that I sometimes have with exhibitions, that I don't have a lot of new books on a particular topic. So Viwe, I see you would like to say something.
No, I just want to agree, Sabe. Inspired by this article, we were actually looking for a few fiction books today, and you find your things falling apart, and you are like, I can't really display this book, you know. All the more popular ones are actually falling apart, as you are saying. It's very difficult to display them.
I'm so glad that you also have this problem. Ingrid was asking about this jacket. Teresa, you would like to say something? Teresa, I see your hand is up.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Elsabe. Yes, Elsabe, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'll just type. Looks like my... Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, you can continue.
On the issue of a challenge with the books for displays, I see here there's another trick that we can mix and match in terms of mitigating that challenge of not having enough collection for display on a particular subject, maybe. And another thing that I wanted to mention is that the article, I really found it inspiring in terms of promoting collaboration between the library and other departments within the institution. Like, for instance, here we have the wellness person that we work together with in terms of promoting those awareness days, your awareness, your awareness and stuff like that. So we work together, and there's that collaboration between the library and them. And I would like the idea of using other departments' resources. Like here they're talking about the library using, where is this now?
Colleagues, can we?
That is...
Teresa, you're still talking?
Yes, yes.
You can continue if you're still talking, or else we can move on. I think we are kind of running out of time now.
Yes, we are.
I'm sorry, Teresa, I couldn't catch everything. You are sort of coming and going. I don't know whether the other people heard everything clearly.
Oh.
But okay, should we move to the last question?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's the second last. If the author is writing on a debatable issue, do they present all sides of the debate?
This isn't a debatable issue, I don't think. I don't think this is a debatable issue. This is a very practical issue.
Yes, and I think the proof of their statistics, that was just amazing to look at their statistics. That said it all.
Mm.
Yes, I think now you are on the last question, Elsa.
Yes, so what evidence does the author give to support the article ideas?
Yes. Yeah, as you were saying, it's statistics. I also liked, the pictures basically that they were, presenting as evidence of what's going on. But in terms of my critique now of the article, I would have preferred a more prominent conclusion, as well as perhaps, just some advice on the implications of this study to us.
Okay, that's an interesting take. Anything else from anyone else? Ingrid?
No, I just think that this has given us some food for thought. I mean, yes, they probably it's not it's not an academic article per se. So what's been said is, okay, this is going to come out all wrong. Like academic articles are not easily understandable, but it's very, this article is very accessible. I'm intrigued by the idea of using Pinterest. I mean, that was in the last paragraph. To ensure that physical library displays also enhance the student experience for those unable to visit the physical library space. So that does point to the use of the plasma screen, and maybe making plasma screen or putting up Twitter images or something like that, promoting using social media.
I do that a lot when we have exhibitions. I usually also post on social media about that. So I try to do that, because I'm always looking for something, something else and something new. But I found this, that the statistics were quite impressive and that the evidence was convincing. And yes, I think all in all, thank you that we could discuss this together. And I think I'm going to send this to my whole marketing team, because Bronwyn mentioned that it's such a pity that they are not here. I think I'm going to send this to my whole marketing committee team, and I think we are going to talk about this and relook some of the exhibitions that we are planning for this year.
Okay, I will hit as I say, I've hit the record button, so we will share those. We will share the recording, and then you can actually share that with your marketing teams. I mean, maybe you want to listen in to all our chat. But Saviva, you're right. They may well pick up off altmetrics that the paper has been used, but no, you're right. You're absolutely right. So there's something there. The next time for the next reading club, whether that is a joint another joint one, which I think this collaboration is turning out to work very well, and that we if the next article we tell the authors and say, hey, they can join us.
That is something.
I think that would be really great, and we could turn it into not just a discussion, but actually something from a discussion with the authors. That'll take a different turn entirely. Oh, I think that, yep. So you see, brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that idea. Can I just ask Ingrid, do you also save the chat?
Yes, everything is recorded. So it's the questions, it's our voices, and then the chat is automatically recorded. So it's like Big Blue Button. So what you'll get is the entire thing. Right, okay. from the time that I hit the record button.
I think a last comment from me is the University of Pretoria participated in the LibQual survey last year, and I can just share with you guys that some of the comments from our students were about the exhibitions. Quite a few number of students commented that they loved the exhibitions in the library, and that it made them think about the books in the library, and that they really felt encouraged to read those books. So that was very good evidence for me, is that even though we put in a lot of effort in these displays, that all is not wasted and that they do get seen. And this article just showed us this. And I also just want to mention the little bookmark that they had here in the article by Tom Lennox. I also thought that that was a very nice little bookmark. I also like that idea, and I think I'm also going to duplicate and steal that idea to do something like that here.
All right, yes, yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Clapping hands. That's very nice. I haven't seen that one before, Teresa.
All right, I am going to hit the stop button now on the recording, and I will then make that recording available to everyone. We will have your details somewhere. So Viwe, I can pass to you for you and your colleagues, and then yeah. Okay. Thank you.